In this video, we are going to discuss about E1 versus E2 elimination. It is there in the name itself, E for elimination. 1 and 2, they refers to order of the reaction. What is order? You may be familiar with this in physical chemistry, in kinetics, but that is applicable for organic reaction also. Consider A and B reacts to give C and D also. If the rate of the reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of either A or either B, only one. In this case, with respect to B, there is no change. The rate of the reaction doesn't depend on concentration of B. Here, rate of the reaction doesn't depend on concentration of A. Then, the order is 1. Generally, we write like this. We don't mention 1. If the rate of the reaction depends on concentration of A as well as concentration of B, then 1 over A and 1 over B. So the rate of the reaction depends, the rate of the reaction, it is nothing but the sum of the superscript. So 1 plus 1, so 2. So that is second order reaction. Now let us go to elimination. There will be some leaving group on carbon 1. On the second carbon, there will be hydrogen. This hydrogen and the leaving group gets eliminated. So this bond falls here, this goes. So what we get is a double bond. So that is known as elimination reaction. We are eliminating some fragment from the substrate. Such reaction is known as elimination reaction. Now let us go to E1 elimination. Generally, this reaction takes place in tertiary alkyl halide. I go for CH3, or here it may be even CH to CH3, something like this. Here there is some leaving group. That leaving group is going to get eliminated. Now this in polar solvent like methanol or water, polar protic solvent similar to SN1. In fact, E1 is competitive SN1 reaction. Now this form a carbocation like this, which is planar. This is the intermediate and this is the rate determining step, RDS. Then hydrogen, which is on the next carbon, is getting eliminated. For example, I go for this hydrogen. So this bond falls here to give the product. So this is E1 mechanism. How can you predict that it undergoes E1? It is very simple. The substrate will be tertiary alkyl halide or alkyl sulfonate. So you can see here it is tertiary carbon. The reason is it goes through carbocation. The ability to form carbocation decides whether it is E1 or E2. So this is the stability of carbocation. So tertiary carbocation will prefer always E1 elimination. Second one, based on the base whatever we use. The earlier case I mentioned nucleophile. Nucleophile and base are same in fact. The earlier case also I used water and methanol in SN1. Here also it is methanol and water. What is the difference? When it attacks electrophile, we call it nucleophile. When it takes proton, we call it base. Since it is carbocation, this hydrogen will be highly acidic. So it can be taken even by a weak base. So even weak base can take that. Or even it may be Cl minus. Second one, it is E2 elimination. Generally, E2 elimination takes place in primary alkyl halide or sulfonate. So that is with a leaving group. So this carbon, it is primary carbon. This is carbon 1 and carbon 2. If there is hydrogen in the second carbon, then the elimination will take place. When you treat this with base, the base should be very strong base. Generally, we go for OH minus, methoxide, potassium tertiary butoxide, even LDA. So we use very strong base. The strong base abstracts this proton. Here I have mentioned 3 protons, 1, 2, 3 on second carbon. But only this proton, which is trans to leaving group, will be taken. So that is taken by the base and this falls here. And what we get is olefin. Now, to predict whether it is E1 or E2, you have to look at the substrate. If it is primary alkyl halide or sulfonate, immediately we can say it is E2 elimination. And the base, whatever we use, will be anionic base or strong base, like NaNH2, methoxide, tertiary butoxide. So we go for such a strong base. Now what are the important points? The first one, product selectivity in elimination. This one is given by a rule called Zaitsev rule. According to this, during elimination, highly substituted olefin is the major product. When there is a possibility to form 2 or more number of olefin, the olefin which has more substituent will be the major one. What is the reason for this? Why do we get highly substituted olefin? Because highly substituted olefin is stable olefin. So the driving force behind the formation of highly substituted olefin is the stability of the olefin that is formed. So there are deviation also. You may get less substituted olefin, that is known as Hoffman product. If you get highly substituted olefin, that is Zaitsev product. We will discuss about that in some other occasion. The second important point is anti-periplanar arrangement. Or anti-coplanar. What is that? During the mechanism, I mentioned that the hydrogen which is trans to leaving group, that only is taken by base. The base takes the proton which is trans to this. So this is taken and this bond falls here to give the product. this leaving group and this bond, these 3 bonds and 4 atoms, they are in the same plane. Hydrogen and the leaving group, they are trans to each other. So that is anti. So hydrogen and leaving group, they are trans. So anti, periplanar, the same plane, or anticoplanar. I can explain this easily with the Newman projection. I go like this. This is the leaving group, and with front carbon there are 2 hydrogens, that is this hydrogen. The rear carbon, I have 3 hydrogens like this. Now this hydrogen, the leaving group, this bond and the carbon-carbon bond. All these 3 bonds and 4 atoms, they are in the same plane. You can see this is the plane. So that arrangement is required. The molecule should be able to rotate to attain this anticoplanar arrangement. Then only the reaction will take place. Then only the elimination will take place. The same thing I can write in Sahars also. So this is the front carbon and this is the rear carbon. So you can see hydrogen and leaving group, they are in the same plane and they are trans. Third important point, it is based on Brett's rule. What is that? In Bridgette carbon, say like this, it is tertiary alkyl bromide. The presence of methanol or water, it should give carbocation. Since there are so many hydrogens, we have hydrogen here, here as well as here. One may expect to get product something like this, or but this elimination will not take place. You cannot generate carbocation or double bond at the bridgehead carbon. This particular carbon is known as bridgehead. You cannot generate carbocation or double bond on the bridgehead carbon in a bicyclic system. The reason, this bicyclic system will be like this. Basically it is boat conformation, cyclohexane, and these two are connected by a CH2. And we have hydrogen or bromide here. So that is the Bridgette carbon. You can see we have bromo. When it becomes carbocation, the carbocation should be planar. But planarity cannot be achieved in this particular case. Since it is locked system, you cannot get carbocation here. So the formation of this is not possible. So it cannot go through E1 elimination, which goes through carbocation. What about E2? Can we abstract this proton by base? Then it may fall to give the product. So if it happens, what we get is a double bond here. You may know that the alkene, it is sp2 carbon, which is planar, but planarity cannot be achieved in this molecule also. So because of that, you cannot generate carbocation or double bond at the Bridgette carbon in a bicyclic system. That is known as Brett's rule. Very often you can find problem which relates the stereochemistry or most stable conformation of cyclohexane with elimination. For example, I go for this cyclohexane. This cyclohexane can undergo flipping. But when I substitute a tertiary butyl like this molecule cannot undergo flipping. Because of the bulkiness, if it undergoes flipping, then what we get is tertiary butyl in the axial position. There will be lot of 1,3 axial interaction. Because of that, this is less favored or not favored at all. So when you introduce tertiary butyl group or even isopropyl group, the cyclohexane, the flipping of the molecule is reduced or stopped because of bulkiness. Now I go for a molecule like this. So I have taken Br and CH3. What will be the product when I treat this with sodium hydroxide, which is strong base? So from the strong base, I can say it is not a E1 elimination. It should be E2 elimination, in that the base abstracts the proton which is trans to that. Now there are two carbons adjacent to this alkyl bromide. So this is 1 and 2. In this case, we have another hydrogen like this. Another one is methyl. If you see, even though there is hydrogen on the second carbon, it is not anti to that. And they are not in the same plane. So the base will not abstract this. If you go for this particular hydrogen will be trans to bromo and they will be in the same plane. So what we get is a product like this. It may look easy if it is given in this structure, but in problem, if it is given like this, for example, say this is tertiary butyl. Tertiary butyl and Br, they are cis to each other. You can see here they are cis. So I put Br here. They are on 1,4 carbon. So 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. So I have placed like this. And this Br and CH3, they are trans. So I put CH3 like this. If it is written like this, then it will be somewhat difficult. First you have to convert this into this format. Then you have to predict the product. If you try as such, there may be some possibility to get the wrong answer. So when it is given in this format, go for more stable conformation. From that you try to predict. So this is equal to, so this is still there, tertiary butyl is there, this CH3 will be there, and this one. So this is the product.